Picture this, your husband, the man you trusted with your life, is on a plane, supposedly off for work, but the truth is far darker. He's headed to a luxury escape with another woman, a betrayal, carefully planned and meticulously hidden. And you? You've uncovered it all, every lie and every betrayal. But you're not just going to sit and suffer. This is the start of your own transformation, a journey toward reclaiming yourself. I'm 37, he's 38, and for a long time, I believed we were unbreakable. But last month, everything unraveled with one accidental message, a simple screenshot he sent of an Amazon order for the kids. In the corner, there it was, an address to another woman, a married coworker. Just like that, my life shattered. Instinct kicked in, and I couldn't ignore it. I dug deeper into his emails, his purchase history, and suddenly, the truth was staring me in the face. Flight confirmations, hotel bookings, spa packages, it was all there. But I didn't react, at least not outwardly. Instead, I quietly put a plan in motion. A plan not for revenge, but for clarity. For me to see everything clearly, so I could finally move forward on my own terms. The evidence and the plan. Over the next few weeks, I gathered it all, every receipt, every message, every lie. I even wrote him a letter, detailing each betrayal, and slipped it inside the lining of his suitcase. He'd discover it eventually, but I had more in store. After they checked into their hotel, I planned to send them a single text, "Enjoy the trip." Not as a message of hurt or anger, but as a powerful statement. A signal that I knew everything, and that he no longer held control over me. Right now, as he's blissfully flying, unaware, I'm waiting. Waiting for his world to unravel, just as mine did. Update number 1, silence. His flight landed 90 minutes ago. He said he'd text when he arrived, but nothing. I send a quick message, no response. His phone goes green, and I realize he's blocked me. He actually thinks he can shut me out this easily. But I'm not stopping. I call the hotel, and his mistress answers, pretending to be a colleague. My composure finally cracks, and I let it all out. When he calls me back, there's no apology, no remorse. Just a cold, matter-of-fact statement, he agrees that divorce is best. It's chilling, how quickly he's turned. But perhaps this is what I needed to truly let go. The reality sets in. I spend the next few hours, with the support of friends, gathering his things and placing them in the garage. Each item I pack brings me a strange sense of relief. As I watch the empty spaces in the closet and see his clothes lined up to go, I realize that my life is already feeling lighter without him in it. The next morning, I wake up to a home that's in disarray. I spent the night tearing down photos, removing traces of him from the walls. It's painful, but necessary. It's the beginning of reclaiming this space as my own. I call my mom and tell her everything, a conversation I never imagined having, and one of the hardest moments I've faced. Then, I start to wonder, who else do I need to tell? His family? His friends? How many people have been living in the dark, just as I had? An unexpected calm. He hasn't tried to come home, and I finally realize he likely never intended to. He texted me once, saying he wouldn't be back for my birthday. A $300 plane ticket was too much to change, apparently. I let out a long breath. This isn't just about our marriage anymore. It's about a man who's willing to leave his children, to start a new life with someone who accepted him at his lowest. I look around my home, now absent of his things, and start to feel the calm that comes when you know exactly what you're moving away from. The path forward. As the days pass, he moves into the basement, avoiding me and the kids. Our first mediation session is short. He wants nothing, no claim to the house, no part of my pension. Just his freedom. It's as if he's vanishing without a trace, hoping to erase this chapter of his life. And that, perhaps, is what finally gives me closure. Looking around my home, now completely mine, I realize that his absence doesn't leave a void. Instead, it's the start of something new. This time, it's my story. A lesson, hard-learned. I've read that people don't cheat because they lack something. They cheat because they want to, because they're chasing something superficial. I see now how I let my needs take a back seat, always giving and never expecting much in return. I sacrificed myself to keep things going, to avoid conflict, but all I really did was enable him. To every woman who has ever felt unseen or taken for granted, this is your moment to wake up. Stop giving so much of yourself to people who wouldn't do the same for you. I lost myself to his lies, but now I'm finding my way back, and I'm stronger for it. The road ahead. The divorce is almost finalized, and he'll be moving in with her soon. As much as it hurts, I've come to accept it. This isn't about revenge or regret anymore. It's about reclaiming my life. I see now that I'm worth so much more than the hollow promises he left behind. This chapter of my life is ending, but the real story is only beginning. To every woman reading this, know that you deserve better. We all do. This is the last page of a painful chapter, but the first of a brand new one. Here's to letting go, moving forward, and taking back what's ours. COVID insensitivity. To everyone who's been reaching out for updates and support, I'm truly sorry for my silence. The past 2 weeks have been a heartbreak in every sense. Tonight, I'll finally share what's been happening, and maybe it'll give some closure, if not to the events, then at least to my thoughts. It started on February 12th. My soon-to-be ex left for what he called a getaway, and while he was off relaxing, my family and I were shattered. COVID took one of our most beloved family members, and as we were drowning in grief, I called him. He answered, loud background noise, kids shouting. He told me he was outside, enjoying time with the hurt kids. Imagine, he's rarely taken our kids outside, but now he's a Mr. Outdoors? Anyway, he acted like he cared, but that show of concern was short-lived. He came back from his trip on the 15th, as usual, and scheduled a COVID test. But then, things went sideways. His test was pushed back due to snow, and after the delay, he cancelled it outright, telling me, I feel fine. No mask, no precautions, just a shrug. It wasn't until 2 weeks later that he finally got tested. All I could think was, my family just suffered an unspeakable loss to COVID, and this is his response? I shouldn't have been surprised. Insensitivity is his pattern. The real monster. The next chapter of this story unfolded with boxes piling up in the house. Every day, new packages arrived with the sounds of packing tape slicing through the air. Yes, he was moving out. And to my shock, I felt joy. It was like Christmas morning for me, watching him pack up. We had to coordinate for the kids' schedules and finances, but I was finally able to speak to him without bitterness. He was leaving, and I couldn't have been happier. In our conversation, I asked if he planned to bring her to meet the kids. His hesitation was telling. But I insisted, if she's going to be in their lives, I deserve to know who she is. That's my right as their mother, the one who's raised them. I could see his discomfort, and I realized why. He knew this meeting could shatter his carefully crafted version of our story. I wonder if he's afraid that, when she meets me, she'll see through his portrayal, that I'm not some bitter, vengeful woman but someone who's moved on. Maybe she'll even see who the real monster is. Like father, like son. That night, he sat alone, sulking at the dining table after the kids went to bed. I ignored him. It's not my place to comfort him anymore. But when I didn't bite, he finally blurted out that he'd told everyone about us, including his father. Oddly, he started to cry, and as I watched him, I realized he wasn't crying out of remorse. He was crying because it was the first time his father acted like a real dad to him. I couldn't quite understand. Is this what he wanted? Just blind support? It got stranger. His father, who left when my husband was only 9, just like the age of my own son, was gone for my son's birthday. Why? He was off with his new girlfriend, right after asking his wife of 30 years for a divorce. Like father, like son, I suppose. I couldn't shake the thought, is betrayal in the bloodline? Moving trucks and spilled tea. Then came the day I'd been waiting for. Moving day. A box truck pulled up to our home, and my children rushed to the window to watch. My youngest wouldn't budge, staring out as their father's things were loaded and taken away. After the truck left, he asked, is the truck coming back? Turns out, he didn't care that his dad was leaving. He just wanted the truck to stay. Later, friends and even his family reached out to me, expressing concern, but really, they just wanted the tea. I told them, sure. I'd pour. I shared the truth he'd kept from them, how he'd been reckless during the pandemic, exposing my family to risk. His friends' wives were shocked. They thought of him as the perfect role model. It's funny how the truth can break illusions. And then, my mother-in-law. She doesn't know about her husband's affair. Not yet. She senses something's off, but seems hesitant, even though adultery would give her grounds in the divorce. It's tragic, really, that I have to be the one to tell her. I know the devastation of finding out alone, and no one should have to experience that betrayal. But this time, I won't hold back. When it's time to tell her the truth, I'll be ready. And for everyone listening, maybe you know someone like this too, someone who wears a mask. Maybe you see through that mask. Because ultimately, we all do.